I think those games can either be your friend or they could be your massive enemy, because you know what it's like. If you're losing at home against Liverpool, I think you can imagine the atmosphere, what it's going to be like. I mean, the season's over with a month to go, and I just think that could be really, as you say, it could be dead.
How have we got this far on the overlap and not spoke about Man United?
Because we're irrelevant.
Adam, come on. Is that what it is? Man United are irrelevant.
I think the season's over for us, isn't it? Hearing about Villa fans and Tottenham fans talking about a battle for Champions League. Manchester United aren't getting Champions League football this season, I don't think. I think that's gone. FA Cup probably be gone in a few weeks if we don't turn up at Old Trafford. So then you're looking at a season which left really just for Ten Hag to prove whether he's the man or not to take us through next season.
Do you think he is?
You know, when I go through the list of potential managers that could come in, I don't feel very infused by it. Like, I go Nagelsmann, Tuchel, all right, maybe they're worthy of an interview, but I don't feel how I felt when Ten Hag was available and you go, just go and get him. So part of me kind of feels like he deserves a chance with the new structure there. But you just start to feel, have we gone too far down the line of things not working, bad results, 12 defeats in the league this season's horrible when you look at it like that.
You know, when you talk about the new structure, obviously you know a lot more about it than me, but this new structure is basically taking power away from the guy you're talking about, staying with the new structure. I mean,
I would call it supporting him rather than taking power away from him.
No, I'd call it taking power. He's basically being able to do what he wants, as I think a lot of Manchester United managers have.
But that's the problem. We didn't have anyone to step in and go, 80 million and Anthony, I'm not sure that's the right deal to be making, or someone to step into those positions. Like, even with De Gea, we should have known we were replacing De Gea 3-4 years ago. And the Onana signing, while I think he's kind of started to improve in the league, it was one there where we kind of went, who's the best keeper in Europe at the moment? He's doing well in the Champions League, let's buy him. It was never a signing that was...
Yeah, but wasn't he, again, another player the manager knew? Didn't he work with him?
Exactly, so you need to take that power away from a manager. So many signings have been decided by a manager. We chop and change manager. So then when the next manager comes in, you go, well, these players aren't suited to him. There's about 4 different players there. We have to change all of them again. We need to have a little bit more of a philosophy and a style and a structure running through the club.
I get exactly what you've just said there, where you're constantly changing and the club are having to spend money. But for the actual manager who's there at that time, to be able to buy the players you want, no matter what they cost, and it still be how poor it's been this season, that's a massive... So you're actually saying we should keep him with a different structure. But
I
probably
just
not
feel
going to
like
get what he wants. Because what you're implementing then is longevity, where you say, if we do change the manager, OK, we've got a philosophy. But for that individual manager then, you're saying he'd be better with a different structure, but he's actually been able to buy it.
I'm on about just my personal feelings is give him a chance. I do feel Ineos coming in, especially with the amount of changes they've made, when you look at they're going from top to bottom and just bringing in new players, there's new roles appearing at the club every day. I think they will eventually get to that position where they're looking at the manager and going, we need to bring in our guy, someone that fits in with what we want to do. But again, it's like Graham Potter. I'm not sure about that one. Like Thomas Tuchel, I'm not sure about that one either. So part of me feels, how many games has he won in the last 2-3 months?
But he has an identity, right? And that's what...
So did Ten Hag until we drilled it out of him. I think we've damaged so many managers.
I'm interested in you saying that, because I'm absolutely bemused, bewildered as to how we can't play football under Ten Hag. I can't believe it, because obviously you see his football that he's played when he's been at a previous club, and he's coming at United, and the football... He actually resorted last week at City, when you look back on the game, to what Ollie did, I think, at Tottenham, when he just sat back and played. Ollie played 5-3-2, but he just went back, right, I must going to get a result. He tried to get a result by any means last weekend. How have we damaged Ten Hag? I get it, I probably know the answers, but why have we damaged Ten Hag? Why can't he get a tune?
I think part of it is, look, I think you have to put responsibility on him. I think there's been a lot of games where we've had enough, despite injuries and despite all those different problems the club has, where he should have got a result. And you have to blame him for tactical decisions, substitutions, etc. And the style of play, there is no style of play like what have we been doing on the training?
Why? That's the bit I don't get.
I think it personally comes down to just injuries and that inability to get momentum going. And then you look at the transfer issues that we've had over the years. There's still a lot we need to do. Like, we're still relying on Lindelof and stuff. Like, Lindelof was an issue 2-3 managers ago. I don't think he's a major issue, but Luke Shaw's injured every other week. Like, we're still relying on players that were issues a few managers ago. So I start to feel a little bit more sympathy for him when you go through the team and you're like, wow, Casemiro, we bought him a year ago. He's already looks like we need to get rid of him. Like, you look around the team and one or two players you could argue should.
What would he have to do to stay? For you, what would he have
games, you know?
No, but
and also
I mean,
just
from now to the end of the season.
You know what's a strange one? I'm normally at Old Trafford, so when I'm at Old Trafford and I'm in the Stretford end and everyone around me singing, it feels like, oh, it's a good atmosphere, this. But I remember I watched the game on the TV, I can't remember what game it was, but I remember thinking this is flat. And you can hear it more on the television. And I remember thinking, if you're in the Ineos guys and you're stood in the crowd and these like ain't up for it here, they're not against the manager, but they're also not believing in what's going on at the minute. And I think that goes across to the team. I think that's spread around the crowd, and I think they will start. The more defeats happen, he will start.
I think the problem they've got is that you said before about the list of names. I don't think it is a time where obviously Liverpool are looking for a manager, Barcelona and Bayern Munich, so three of the biggest clubs in Europe are currently probably got people speaking to agents, setting up deals or meetings. And Manchester United are in that position where they're probably not sure with the manager, do we or don't we? And you could get left behind. So it's. I think they've got to make a decision really quickly. They've got to make a decision really quickly.
I don't get the impression though that like Jim Ratcliffe or Dave Brailsford or Dan Ashworth are the type of people that won't be doing their jobs now in terms of planning and seeing what's available for a new manager. I'm not saying they've made the decision. I can't believe they wouldn't now be sounding out and looking and thinking what happens. I think for me, for Ten Hag, when you say what's critical, I always remember two games under David Moyes and under Ollie where it was City and Liverpool. We've got Liverpool at home twice in the space of, I think, 3 weeks. I think those games can either be your friend or they could be your massive enemy, because you know what it's like if you're losing at home against Liverpool. Away at Liverpool's bad, but you've only got a couple of thousand United fans in the corner. You've got 73,000 United fans in that stadium against Liverpool twice. And if Liverpool come and do us in the Cup with 7,000 probably fans there, because you get a lot more allocation, I do think those games are defining. I think we beat Liverpool.
The season's over as well.
Yeah, the season's over. So I think we beat Liverpool in the Cup. The atmosphere will be electric if we beat Liverpool in the Cup. It'll be amazing. And then I think that obviously if we do all right in the league against Liverpool, I'm not saying we will, it's a big ask this. I think they are games that would then potentially give us that impetus to the rest of the season and would give Ten Hag a bit of a lift. I think if we lose against Liverpool twice, I think you can imagine the atmosphere, what it's going to be like. I mean, the season's over with a month to go. And I just think that could be really, as you say, it could be dead. And I think that could be really bad in terms of just perception and just feeling. And
I think he is on trial for his job now between now and the end of the season. I think
he is.
That's it. But obviously, I'm an optimist and I like to be optimistic every year. I think we're going to win the league. And I do have some sense of optimism with the direction these guys are going in. It's things they should be doing, yeah. It's kind of like that Chris Rock stand-up bit about getting praised for stuff you're supposed to do. Like, they're supposed to do the stuff anyway, but just them going and meeting people, yeah, that's their job. Like, but them going to meet the staff and say, look, we just want to win games and trying to change the direction of the club. And whether Ten Hag's the manager that maybe came in too early to benefit from those changes or not, I don't know. But it does feel like, especially with they're just bringing in all these new roles and trying to change things with the football club, move towards a direction of let's focus on winning. It does fill me with a little bit of optimism, but I fear that Ten Hag's probably not going to benefit from it.
I was going to say that, to finish, you obviously want Ten Hag to stay. Do you think he will stay? Do you think they'll keep him or let him go?
I think we'll have a new manager next season, unfortunately.
I mean,
Unfortunately?
I like him, you know. I liked him last season as well. I think he deserves a lot more credit for what he did last season. And I think we always have to go backwards to go forward. And not that every manager's the same, but there's other managers that have kind of failed before they've succeeded. And for Manchester United to get where we want to, I think we've got to go through the painful process of getting rid of a lot of different players that maybe some of them we like or whatever, but you have to get rid of some of these players and move on. And when you go from the back, I don't want to do it because we'll be here all week, but when you go from the back to the front, we need a player in every position. That's not happening in one transfer window. So we're going to have to be patient as well, I think.
What's going to happen is that Ten Hag gets sacked by United, Liverpool will appoint him and he'll win the league for Liverpool.